All right, so you landed that interview for a credit advisor position. That's awesome. And to help you get ready for it, we're diving deep into some resources from RoleCatcher. We've got their career guides and some common interview questions, and we're even going to look at their AI tools. So are you ready to get started?
Yeah, let's do it. One of the first things to remember is that being a credit advisor is a lot more than it seems like on the surface. You're
Yeah.
not just there crunching numbers all day. You're kind of like a financial detective, helping people to understand their own financial situations and make a plan to reach their goals.
Oh, I love that. A financial detective. And in the guide, they emphasize this idea that you need to analyze a client's spending, define those patterns, and then build a debt management plan that helps them be successful. So it really is a mix of analysis and empathy. And speaking of empathy, the first practice question we have here is, what inspired you to pursue this career path? What do you think about that one?
Yeah, this is where you got to connect your passion for this job to some specific parts of the role. Just saying, I like money isn't going to work. You got to think about what really gets you excited about this job. Maybe you're really interested in the psychology of how people handle money. Or maybe you've seen how bad financial decisions can really shoot people and you want to help them avoid that. Whatever it is, you got to explain it in a way that shows you're serious about the field.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Show them you're not just looking for any job,
Yeah.
that you really want to help people be better with their finances. And interviewers love that kind of energy. Okay, so moving on to the next question. It says, how do you stay up to date on the latest laws and regulations? What do you think they're getting at with that question?
I think they want to know if you're someone who's always learning and wants to keep growing in this field, because things are changing all the time. So don't just say that you read articles. Be specific. Talk about certain publications or organizations you follow, like the National Foundation for Credit Counseling. And even better, if you can talk about online courses or something you've done to learn more on your own.
Yeah, that shows that you're serious about keeping up with everything and that you're proactive.
Okay, let's get into some of the details of the job. The next question says, walk me through how you'd assess a client's creditworthiness. I think that's where the analytical skills really come into play.
Definitely. You'll probably want to mention credit scores, but take it a step further. Talk about a specific financial ratio you would use, like the debt-to-income ratio. It basically tells you if someone's income is enough to handle their debt and if they're spending too much.
That's a great example. It shows you understand more than just the basics. Okay, so now this is a question every credit advisor needs to be ready for. How do you handle difficult clients? Any advice on how to approach this one? Well, you're definitely going to come across challenging clients, so be prepared to share a story about how you handled a tough situation. But of course, don't use any real names or anything. Focus on what you did to figure out what they were worried about, how you built a relationship with them and then found a solution. Remember that empathy and clear communication are really important here. Did you try to use similar words as the client to show them you understood their feelings? Did you explain things in a simple way without using too much financial jargon? Those are the kinds of things that make your experience come to life and show off your people skills.
Yeah, I like that. It's more impactful than just saying, I'm a good communicator.
Now let's switch gears a bit and talk about managing your workload. RoleCatcher asks, how do you prioritize your workload and manage multiple client accounts?
This is all about staying organized and being efficient. Be ready to share how you keep on top of everything. Do you use any specific software or techniques? Are you a to-do list person, or do you use project management apps? Explain how you track deadlines and client communication and make sure nothing gets missed. Great point. And this could also be a good spot to bring in some of those career insights from the guide. Like you could mention that you're interested in becoming a senior credit advisor someday, and that your organizational skills would be really helpful as you take on more responsibility.
That's a good strategy, showing that you're ambitious and connecting your skills to your long-term career goals. It shows the interviewer you're thinking about the future. Now, another tough question that comes up sometimes is, can you provide an example of a time when you had to make a difficult decision related to credit advising?
Mm.
What do you think about that one?
Well, this is your chance to really show off your judgment and problem-solving skills. Think about a time when you had to weigh different things and make a tough choice. Explain your thought process clearly. Talk about what was ethical and the potential risks and benefits. And of course, how your decision ended up helping the client.
Exactly. And don't forget to mention what you learned from the experience. It shows that you can learn and grow from tough situations, which is really valuable in any job, especially one where you're giving people advice about their finances.
Great points. We've covered a lot of ground already. From understanding what a credit advisor does to answering some really tough interview questions. But we still got more to explore.
Yeah, for sure. We still need to talk about how to show off your expertise, how to keep client information confidential, and how RoleCatcher's AI can help you improve your interview skills. All of this will help you do great in that interview and get the job you deserve.
One thing I found interesting in the career guide was how much they talked about being accurate and staying informed. It's not just giving advice, it's making sure that advice is good advice and based on facts.
Right, it's like they're saying you got to do your homework. And that leads us to our next question. How do you ensure that you're providing clients with accurate and up-to-date information? Seems simple, but I bet there's a good way to answer this. Yeah, definitely. This is where you can really show them how you stay on top of things. Mention the stuff you read, like publications or websites.
Yeah.
And any professional development courses you've taken. Even talk about how you double-check things. Do you have a go-to resource for verifying information? Or maybe you've got like a network of experts you can talk to. All those details show that you're serious about giving solid advice.
I like that. It's
Yeah.
like you're not just reading stuff, but you're really digging in and making sure it's right. Okay, let's move on to something super important for a credit advisor. Building relationships. RoleCatcher asks, how do you build and maintain strong relationships with clients? What do you think about that one?
Well, this is where those people skills really matter. Think about the things that make people trust you and feel comfortable, like listening to them, really listening and understanding where they're coming from, communicating clearly and honestly, and showing that you care about them. Give them some examples of how you've built strong client relationships before. Maybe you have a system for remembering birthdays or something, or you check in with them regularly just to see how they're doing. Highlight what makes your approach special and focused on the client.
Those are great examples. It's about going above and beyond, showing them that you're not just there for the transaction, but for their success. And, this ties into what the career guide said about burnout in this field. It's important to have ways to deal with stress and have a good work-life balance.
Oh, for sure. Interviewers always want to know how you handle that stuff, especially in a job that can be tough and emotional. Share what you do to take care of yourself. Maybe you meditate or exercise or just set boundaries. Showing that you're aware of your own needs and that you're taking care of yourself. That tells the employer you can handle the pressure.
Right. It's not just about getting through the day, but actually thriving. Okay, back to the questions. How do you handle confidential client information? This one seems obvious, but you still got to answer it professionally.
Yeah, definitely. Talk about the specific things you do, like using passwords and secure files and following all those privacy rules. You can even mention the ethics stuff from the career guide and explain how you'd handle those tricky situations.
It shows that you're not just following the rules blindly, that you're really thinking about what's right, and that you take protecting information seriously. Okay, here's a question that might be a little intimidating. How do you measure the success of your credit advising services? Any tips on how to answer this without getting lost in all the numbers?
This is where you can show off that you understand the numbers, but also that you care about people. Think about the things that really matter in this job, like better credit scores, less debt people getting approved for loans, or just clients reaching their goals. Share how you track progress and use data, but don't forget about the human side. In the end, success is about helping people have better financial lives.
I love that. It's that balance between the data and the real impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
Before we move on to the last part where we talk about RoleCatcher's AI, I wanted to talk about something that can be really tough. Rejection. Any advice for our listener on what to do if they don't get the job, even after a good interview?
Yeah, rejection is just part of the process. And remember, it doesn't mean you're not good enough. It's just not the right fit. It's actually a chance to learn. Ask the interviewer for feedback. What did you do well? What could you do better next time? Use that information to improve for your next interview. And don't forget, RoleCatcher's AI can help you figure out where to focus your efforts.
That's good advice. It's about turning those no's into something positive. Okay, well, speaking of learning, let's move on to that last section and explore how RoleCatcher's AI can really help you prepare for your interview. All right, so we're in that final stretch of our deep dives into getting ready for your credit advisor interview. And we've saved the coolest part for last, RoleCatcher's AI. It's like having a secret weapon to help you prep.
You know what's really amazing about RoleCatcher's AI? It actually looks at job descriptions and figures out the keywords, and then it helps you tweak your resume and cover letter to match what employers want. It's like having a professional resume writer right there on your computer.
Wow, that's incredible. No more guessing about what to put in your application. But it gets even better, right? RoleCatcher also has that AI feedback for your interview answers, which we talked about a little bit earlier.
Oh yeah, for sure. That feature is a total game changer. You can practice answering questions specifically for credit advisor roles, like the ones we've been going through. And the AI will tell you how you're doing on things like what you're saying, how you're saying it, and even your tone of voice.
So it's like having a virtual coach who can tell you if you're rambling or using too much jargon or if you sound unsure of yourself.
Exactly. It helps you find that balance between showing off what you know and sounding confident and engaging. The AI can even pick up on little things like how fast you're talking and your tone to help you really fine-tune your delivery.
It's like a mirror that shows you not just your words, but how you're coming across overall. And I bet the more you practice with the AI, the more confident and polished you'll become.
Absolutely. You'll start to do those things naturally without even thinking about it. It's like training wheels for your career.
I love that. So we've covered so much today, from what a credit advisor actually does to tackling those tough interview questions, and even using the power of AI to our advantage. What would you say is the most important thing you've learned from all this?
That's a good question. I think for me, it's remembering that preparation is everything. If you really understand the role and you're ready for the questions, and you're using tools like RoleCatcher to help you, you can walk into that interview feeling confident and ready to show them what you've got.
Yeah, I totally agree. And don't forget to be yourself.
Right.
Your skills and knowledge are important, of course, but that genuine excitement and passion for helping people, that's what will make you stand out.
That's such a great point. Remember, people hire people, not robots.
Right.
So go into that interview with confidence, knowing you've done your homework and that you have the tools to succeed.
You've got this. We're rooting for you all the way. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Good luck with your interview, and let us know how it goes.